And hello everybody, and welcome into the RNGIDP channel. I'm Craig, and back here with another game day 15 ball game in the KL in our randomized NUS league here on the channel. Welcome in. We should have a fun game tonight between Washington and Cincinnati. Washington Natu coming into today's ball game after beating Los Angeles 8-1. Washington's been on a good streak here recently. They have won 2 in a row, but even more so, they were at the bottom of the standings, I believe, 4 or 5 games ago. Excuse me, but they have marched up the standings, and now they sit in 9th place in the KL. And they will be facing the dregs of the KL at the moment, the Cincinnati Loudreds, who are 2-10. Cincinnati did, though, in their last game, snap their 8-game losing streak that they had going, and they snapped it against a good team in Atlanta. They shut them out 6-0. So here we are. And oh, you know what I forgot to do tonight? Is I forgot to set up the home field here. We are in Cincinnati, and that will be a hitter's park. Let me look and see what the ballpark ratings are. Left and right are 6s, and a lefty is gonna have fun here. A 1-19 would be a home run, and for a righty, it's a 1-13. Okay, now we can get back on track. As I was mentioning, Cincinnati, they won their last game after snapping an 8-game losing streak, and now looking to put a little string together and put some make up some ground between them and the 14th place team, the Colorado Reggie Rock. They sit 2 games behind them and looking to get out of the basement. So we'll get started here. Thank you for joining me as always. It's a pleasure to bring you a ball game and that people actually watch and pay attention. This is awesome. Can't believe it. And the support has been great. And so Cincinnati will send to the mound Mike Montgomery, the lefty. Mike Montgomery has been struggling just like all the rest of the Cincinnati pitchers. He went 9 innings, or he's gone 9 innings, excuse me. He's got an 0-1 record, 3 hits given up, only 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and 5 walks. Now, I don't remember if that's in 2 starts. I want to say it is, but I'm not for sure. I'd have to go back and look at the box scores. So, Mike Montgomery has an 0-1 record, and he will face the lineup for Washington. It looks a little something like this. Washington has no injuries right now, so they're going with a pretty strong lineup. They've made a couple of changes, and we'll see that here against the lefty. Ender Inciarte is the left fielder, and he is batting leadoff. He's hitting .377, 23 hits and 61 at-bats, a couple of doubles, a couple of triples, does have a home run, and also 8 RBIs. Not to mention that he has 6 stolen bases. That ranks him in amongst the top 10 in stolen bases in the KL. Jason Kipnis is another lefty, a second baseman. He's hitting .241 with 4 doubles, a triple, no home runs yet, 4 RBI. Carlos Correa is the shortstop for Washington. He's in the 3 spot. Correa is batting .275 with 7 doubles, a triple, and a homer, and 4 driven in. The first baseman today is Edwin Encarnacion. He and Anthony Rizzo are the first baseman for Washington. Rizzo getting the day off because he's been struggling. He's hitting .208. And with the lefty on the mound, they're going with the righty Encarnacion. Encarnacion has 1 hit on the season, and that's a home run. And he will be batting in the cleanup spot. Salvador Perez is the catcher and batting 5th. He is hitting .140 on the season. He does have a homer and 5 RBI, but he does have 14 strikeouts. Miguel Sano is the third baseman and hitting 6th, the righty. His batting average is up to .311 right now. Got a couple of bombs and 4 RBIs for him. In center field will be Justin Maxwell. Maxwell is in center field today for the resting Curtis Granderson. And you could say resting, but others would say benched. He's hitting 136 right now, and he's a lefty against the lefty. So they're going with Justin Maxwell out in center field. He's 0 for 2 in his limited duty. And out in right field will be Jeff Francoeur. Frenchie is in the 8th spot, hitting 263, a solid 263 for him. Flips the order pretty routinely. And today, making his first start, will be a left-handed pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez. He's a weak-hitting left-handed batter as well. So that's how they'll line up to face Mike Montgomery here in the top of the first. And we're about underway. About ready to get underway, I should say. And I got my pen ready. Got our dice ready. And I think we're about ready to roll here. And just about get it ready to start. Mike Montgomery to face Ender Inciarte to lead off the ball game. And Inciarte bounces one easily to start the game. A routine ground ball over to the second baseman, Hanser Alberto. And he tosses it strongly over to first. And quickly we have an out here. But we're underway. Jason Kipnis now. Kipnis, lefty on lefty here. And he's going to get a hit. This is going to be a double down the center field, right center field, outfield. And Jason Kipnis will be aboard. Stand-up double. So Kipnis, with that lefty on lefty violence there, doubles out to the right center field gap. And he will be aboard and in scoring position already for Carlos Correa. Correa started out this season slowly, but has come along, and his batting average is pretty good now. But he's going to strike out here in a big situation. That'll be the second out of the inning. The first strikeout for Mike Montgomery. And now it'll be up to Edwin Encarnacion to bring that run home. Against the lefty, this will be a ballpark single chance, a 1-6, and it's going to sneak through the infield. It will. Kipnis didn't get a good read on it, so he's going to have to stop at third. But Encarnacion keeps the train moving, and it will be up to Sal Perez to bring home the run. Runners on the corner now, the corners with 2 outs. And this is a 6-9, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. The shortstop for Cincinnati is Ruben Tejada. He is a 3-range shortstop. A 3-3 is going to be a single right up the middle, and that's going to bring a run home. Kipnis will trot home from third. Encarnacion moves to second, and that will score a run for Salvador Perez, an RBI single to get this party started. And Jason Kipnis scores, and it's a 1-0 ball game here in the first inning. Washington breaking through early with a run. So Encarnacion at second, Perez at first. Mike Montgomery had to have been 2 quick outs there, but the double by Kipnis comes around to score. And now Sano, he swings and misses, and that's a strikeout. So 2 strikeouts now in the inning, and that will end the top half of the first. But Washington gets a run early. An early run for Washington against the Cincinnati Loudreds. And Cincinnati gives up a lot of runs. Their run differential is -9. Washington is at a +6. They've scored 47 runs and only given up 41. So they've been in some close ball games, and here they have a early lead. As I mentioned before, Eduardo Rodriguez is on the mound for Cincinnati. for Washington. Eduardo Rodriguez has worked in 2 2/3 innings in relief. He's only given up 1 hit, no earned runs as of yet. He has a strikeout and no walks. He is the 5th starter. Matt Garza was the 5th starter. He went 6 2/3 in his 1 appearance. He has a 0-1 record, so they're going with Eduardo Rodriguez to see if they can get some more production out of the back end of the rotation, and today it will be Rodriguez. Here's the lineup that he will face for Cincinnati. Cincinnati is struggling. They're hitting .227 as a team, and they will line up with some changes, some major changes today to that lineup to try and get any kind of something or other going. Billy Hamilton is the staple at the top of the order, though, and he is there today. He's the center fielder. Billy Hamilton is hitting 179, so he's not doing his job of getting aboard. He does have a homer, though, and 5 RBIs, a couple of stolen bases as well. Ruben Tejada moves back up in the order, and today he is in the 2 spot. He's the shortstop, the right-hander. Tejada's hitting .229. No homers, no extra base hits, actually. You know what? Actually, I told you wrong. He's got 3 doubles and only 1 RBI. David Freese moves to the 3 spot. He is the 3rd baseman. Freese is hitting .267 with a homer and 6 driven in. David Ortiz, the big man Ortiz, is fielding at first base today. He's the left-hander. He's hitting .326 with 5 homers and 11 runs batted in. Blake Swihart is the catcher. He is the backup catcher, but he's doing the starting today because Travis d'Arnaud continues to be injured. He will be out for another 8 games, I believe. So Swihart is going to have to play every single game. He's a switch-hitting catcher. And Swihart is 5 for 32 on the season. Delman Young is getting a rare start. He's out in right field today for Ichiro, who with the lefty on the mound is getting the day off. Delman Young hasn't seen much action. He's 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Jerry Sands is the left fielder. He's batting 7th today. Sands has he's 9 for 33 in limited duty. He's got a double and 1 RBI. Hanser Alberto is the 2nd baseman. He's 0 for 2 in his brief appearances. Mostly, I think all of those have been pinch hitting opportunities. And he will be filling in for Neil Walker, who's been struggling. I think Walker, let's look at his average. It's 152 right now. So getting a day off to clear his head, and Hanser Alberto is starting at 2nd. And the pitcher is Mike Montgomery. He's a weak-hitting left-handed pitcher, batting today for himself in the KL. And we are ready to get this thing rolling for real this time. The bottom of the 1st, it's a 1-0 ball game. Washington plated a run in the top side. Jason Kipnis doubled and came around to score. And now Billy Hamilton from the right-hand side will look at that pitch on the outside corner, and he gets caught looking. That's a strikeout to lead off the ball game for Cincinnati. That's Hamilton's problem. He's been doing that a lot in this series, in this league, I should say. Been striking out a bunch. Now Ruben Tejada. Ruben Tejada is going to get a base hit. Will it get through to the gap? It will, and that's going to be a double. So just like Washington in the top half, first man made an out, and second man stands aboard second with a double. Will Cincinnati be able to capitalize like Washington did? It will be up to David Freese to do so. And no, he's going to get strikeout. Punched him out. Second strikeout of the inning. Second out of the inning. And it will be up to David Ortiz now. Lefty on lefty. This is a 4-5, and this one is bounced over to Kipnis at second. He gobbles it up and wings it underhanded over to the first baseman, and that will retire the side and the threat from Cincinnati. So, a good euphemism for their season. Get a man aboard, and can't do anything with it. Cincinnati leaves a man on second. And we move to the second, the top half, and it will be the 7, 8, 9 batters of Maxwell, Francoeur, and the pitcher Rodriguez to face the lefty Mike Montgomery. Jerry Ball checking in. How am I doing? Well, I'm doing better. My voice is still a little grovelly, man. I can't shake that last little grovel out of the backside of my voice. I've noticed it at work when I've been recording some stuff too. I've been trying to record some commercials, and I hear it just a little tiny bit left in the backside on the trail end of my voice, and hopefully it's not driving you guys to not watch the videos. It's not annoying you that bad. Jason Maxwell will face Mike Montgomery. Maxwell, the righty, getting the spot start today. And he's going to poke a single out through the center field. And that will be a base hit to lead off the top of the second. Jeff Francoeur now. Francoeur is just a solid player. His average is decent usually. It's sitting around 260, 270 right now, and that's just kind of the player he is. Got a good arm out there in right field. Decent fielder as well. This is a 4-7. Well, I talk him up, and just look at that. He strikes out. Wouldn't you know it, that as soon as you say something nice about a guy, he goes and strikes out. Now it'll be the pitcher with 1 out. The pitcher is a B bunter. And so he's going to try and lay down a bunt. They're not necessarily expecting it. Maybe they should, because they're not going to really hold him. So they're going to bring the infield in, and he's going to bunt anyway. So it's a C, maybe a C bunter with an 8. Batter is thrown out by first baseman, runners advance 1 base. So it's a good sacrifice bunt from the pitcher. And that will advance the runner Maxwell to second. So staying out of the double play is Rodriguez, and it will be left up to Ender Inciarte to bring the run home from second. Will he be able to do it lefty on lefty here? And he will. That's a single, and that's going to score the run. That is good small ball from Washington to plate home that run. A single to lead off the inning. A strikeout to Francoeur. The pitcher gets the bunt down to advance the runner. And Inciarte with a single up the middle brings the run home. And now it'll be Kipnis with 2 outs. And Ender Inciarte is a stealer. Blake Swihart is the catcher with a +1 arm. So they are going to hold him. They have to hold him. It's 1-15. -2 because he's being held, so it's a 1-13, but +1 because of the catcher's arm. So it's a 1-14 chance, and Ender Inciarte is wasting no time here. On the first pitch, he's going to take off, and he makes it easily. Sliding under the tag, and that is a stolen base, which is his 7th on the season. And now Kipnis has a man in scoring position. He doubled in the first. Will he be able to bring home the run here? This is a 5-11. It's a fly ball left field X. So the left fielder is Jerry Sands. And Sands is going to have to make a play. He's a left fielder 3. A 312 is going to be his E rating. He's an E2, so he's a pretty good fielder. We rolled an 8. And he's going to get there. He's going to make a nice sliding grab. Jerry Sands with a inning-ending sliding catch. And that will do it here in the top of the second. But Washington, they scratch by another run. And it's 2-0 here, moving to the bottom side. Jason Kipnis is a former ASU Sun Devil. I didn't know that. And Jerry, you're a Sun Devil fan? Is that, I don't think I knew that. Is that what I'm picking up here? Or are you in Arizona? I've actually been to Tempe. I remember my junior year of college, because I'm here in Denver, in Colorado. My junior year of college, I went to Colorado State, which is just about an hour north of Denver in Fort Collins. And for spring break one time, we went and watched spring training, and St. Patrick's Day ended up being during that time that we were down in Tempe. And boy, that town goes crazy, man. It's a nice college town. And crazy. So Blake Swihart will be the man to lead off here. The 5-6-7 batters, Swihart, Young, and Sands, to face Eduardo Rodriguez for Washington with a 2-0 lead. And here he will face Swihart, the switch-hitting catcher, who steps in from the right-hand side. This will be hit to the shortstop, Carlos Correa. And he's a a shortstop 2. We rolled a 15, and that's going to play. He makes the throw from the outfield grass, but with the catcher running, he's going to have no problem getting him to start the bottom of the second. And actually, I put that on the wrong spot, didn't I? I was talking to Jerry and not paying attention. And I said that Correa threw himself out. So I'm glad I caught that, though, because I have gone in this series before, like an inning or two, and I'm like, oh, man, I put that on the wrong spot. So Swihart is thrown out by Correa. And now Delman Young, with his third at-bat of this Young season. This is a 3-7. He bounces one to Correa as well. He's getting a workout, and he makes a fine play across the diamond to get Delman Young. And with 2 quick outs now, it's Jerry Sands. Sands is a right-hander. This is a 5-11. This one's hit out to right field. Correa is not going to be able to get this one. Will Jeff Francoeur be able to make a play? Frenchie is a 2-ranged right fielder. A 2.9 is going to go to his E rating. He's an E15. We rolled a 7. E15, and we rolled a 7. Francoeur is going to make a dive for it, but he misses, and the ball gets past him. And so Sands is going to end up on second off of a 2-base error from Jeff Francoeur. And so Rodriguez thought he was going to get out of the inning pretty easily, but the 2-base error from Francoeur extends the inning. And will this come back to cost him? So Jerry is from Arizona, Prescott, Arizona. Cool. I'm just thinking about that trip. And when I was down in Tempe, we ended up, I don't really remember how we ended up there, but we ended up in a party at a bar, and it was bubbles. Like, in the entire bar, it was just like you were in a bathtub full of bubbles. You couldn't see across the room. There was just bubbles everywhere. I was like, what is going on here? I just wanted to hang out and have a beer. And there's bubbles everywhere and lights flashing everywhere through the bubbles, and it was nuts. Anyway, Hanser Alberto now with a man at second, looking to capitalize on that error from Francoeur, and he's gripping the bat a little tight, and he pops it up to the shortstop. Carlos Correa will be able to make this play, and he makes all 3 outs here in the bottom of the second. And Hanser Alberto bursts Cincinnati's bubble and doesn't score a run here. Jerry Sands stuck on second, and Jeff Francoeur is off the hook with that error. Mike Montgomery now in the top of the third to face Carlos Correa, who was busy there and will, of course, come up to the plate first. And he strikes out. So 2 strikeouts on the day for Carlos Correa against Montgomery. That's the 4th strikeout on the day for the pitcher Montgomery. And we move to Edwin Encarnacion. Encarnacion against the lefty will bounce this one to third. David Freese is going to go track it down, and makes a jumping throw, but has plenty of time to get the not very speedy Edwin Encarnacion. And now there's 2 quick down for Montgomery. This one is a 3-3 from Salvador Perez. Perez pops it up behind the catcher, and the third baseman Freeze is going to call the catcher off, and he makes the play. So a 1-2-3 inning. Sal Perez pops out to the third baseman behind and foul ground. And we move to the bottom of the third. It's 2-0. Washington hanging on here. And Eduardo Rodriguez will face the pitcher, and then back up to Billy Hamilton and Ruben Tejada here in the bottom of the third. But first, it will be Mike Montgomery. And he looks at a pitch, and he catches him sleeping. That's a strikeout. The third one on the day for Rodriguez. And it didn't look like Montgomery had any intention of really swinging the bat. He just kind of stood there and waiting for waiting for the strikeout, and it came. And he's the first victim of the inning. So it will be Billy Hamilton from the right-hand side. And Billy Hamilton looks at that same pitch, and it's called the same strike. And he strikes out again. 2 strikeouts now for Hamilton. Not going to steal any bases when you got your bat on your shoulder. And there's 2 quickly down. Ruben Tejada now. And Tejada bounces one to third. Miguel Sano will be tested for the first time. He's a 5-range third baseman. He's not his forte. He's in there for his bat. But a 5'18", he's going to get down and get dirty. Makes the diving stop. And he's got enough arm strength to throw across the diamond just in time to get Ruben Tejada. And I did the same thing again, didn't I? I wrote that down under Sano instead of Tejada. Well, that will end the third inning, though. Cincinnati scoreless through three. And now I need my whiteout again for Miguel Sano. What part of Colorado am I in? I am in Denver, Denver proper. I was born and raised here in Denver, and I went away for college to, as I said, Fort Collins, which is not very far. It's an hour away. It's really not that bad, and I'm back now in Denver. Well, I shouldn't say now. That was a long time ago. After college. I wish it was just now, but it seems like college was just yesterday, but the years, they keep piling up in between. Mike Montgomery will face Miguel Sano. And lefty on lefty here, and that one is hit deep. Miguel Sano, will he be able to get this up and out of here? A 1-13, and it's gone, and it is way gone. And that is a solo shot, a homer for Miguel Sano. Well, he made the play out in the field, and now he makes one here at the plate. That's a solo homer for the big, burly third baseman, and it's 3-0. And it will be Justin Maxwell now against the lefty. Maxwell gets caught looking, and that is a strikeout. So Montgomery battles back after the leadoff home run here in the top of the fourth to get an out quickly. And now it goes to Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur handles lefties decently. This one, it looked like it was going to be a single, but the shortstop Tejada makes a nice play. And he fires it over to second. Really probably should have been a single, but he took a hit away. And now it will be the pitcher, Rodriguez. He's going to bat for himself. He's pitching pretty well. And he's just going to keep that bat on his shoulder. And Montgomery strikes him out to end the inning. Well, end the top half at least. So that will end the top of the fourth. Washington gets another run. It's 3-0. Jerry says, "Go Washington." He's a fan of the Natu, I guess. Washington sitting at 6-7. Jerry, Arizona's team. We saw him last night in this stream. Arizona. If you missed that game, it's up on the YouTube channel. Go and find it. I won't spoil it for you. But they are sitting, at the start of this game day, they were sitting at 7-6. So just a few spots above Washington in 6th place. Eduardo Rodriguez will face the 3-4-5 batters of Freeze, Ortiz, and Swihart, the heart of the order here. They went 0 for 3 the first time up. And David Freeze gets a pitch. And he bounces this one to Sano, who's having a good game. And he makes a nice, easy play. And that'll be the first out. And L Red Sox fan checking in. What's up, Al? Getting a late start tonight. He says, "Jerry, get some sleep." Is Jerry here all day watching streams? I appreciate him being here in mine. This is a 3-8 for David Ortiz, and he hits this one to the left-hand side. Carlos Correa is going to gobble this up on a hop and sling it sidearmed over to first. And there's 2 down. So Eduardo Rodriguez making this look easy in a spot start. Taking over that 5th spot in the rotation. Will he be able to keep this going and cement himself in the rotation? This is kind of a tryout for him. Matt Garza didn't do so well in his tryout, and he's back in the bullpen. But Blake Swihart has enough of that talk, and that's going to be a 2-out single for Swihart. And now Delman Young, who bounced out and grounded out to the shortstop Correa last time up. It'll be up to him to keep this inning alive. And he's got a shot, a 1-7, and it's a single. Oh, but it was a diving catch by Jason Kipnis to rob him of that single. And that will end the bottom of the fourth. So a 2-out single from Blake Swihart is all that Cincinnati can muster up. And as we move to the top of the 5th, let me tell you about one of my other projects I have, and that is the Rank 'em Up podcast. Why do I bring it up in the top of the 5th? Well, do you like lists and rankings? Well, that's all we do on the podcast is we take a subject like superheroes, and we go around the table and we rank our top 5 of each of these subjects. So, like for superheroes, is your favorite superhero Spider-Man or Batman or Superman? Well, of course, there's going to be some arguments because Don, one of my co-hosts, he will argue about anything. And Lilo is usually the guy that breaks the list's rules. So you got to watch out for him. He will do that every week. If that sounds good to you, then let me tell you that it's fun each week. That's the Rank 'em Up podcast. Check it out on iTunes, Google Play, and all your favorite podcast apps. That's the Rank 'em Up podcast on Twitter at Rank 'em Up. All right, top of the 5th here. And we move to the top of the 5th, Washington. Actually, I didn't move these back, did I? Mike Montgomery will pitch to Ender Enciarte to lead off the top of the 5th. And we're losing Al Red Sox fan. He's going to hit the hay and listen to me. And I appreciate him doing so. That's dedication. And you are the man, Al, for doing that. So thank you. Mike Montgomery against the lefty Ender Enciarte. And Enciarte lifts this one out to left field. And Jerry Sands is going to have an easy play. He squeezes the glove, and that's 1 out here to get this thing started in the top of the 5th. Jerry Ball says his superhero is Willie Mays. You know what? You would be breaking the rules there, Jerry, and I would go to bat for you on that one because that is a good one. Jason Kipnis now. This one's hit over to second base, and that's where the new second baseman, Hanser Alberto, will get his first chance to get down and dirty. and make a play. It's a 2-5, and he will be able to make it. He makes a dive, and from his knees will make the play to toss it over to first and get his counterpart, Jason Kipnis. So 2 down now. And Carlos Correa is the batter. And he ends up drawing a walk. So he struck out his first 2 times up against Montgomery. And this time, being patient once more, he draws a walk. And 2 out walks. Those come back to haunt you. And will it this time for Mike Montgomery. It's a 6-3. And this is a ballpark single chance. And that's going to be a single. It sneaks through the shortstop, Tejada. And Encarnacion has his second hit of the day. And Correa moves to second. And it will be up to Sal Perez again. 2 men on here, 2 outs. Perez singled in the first, drove home a run, fouled out his last time up. And now he faces Montgomery with 2 men on, and this will be lifted out to left field. He's not going to do it this time. Jerry Sands has a beat on it and will make the play, and that will end the threat here in the top of the 5th. And Washington can't bring home any more runs. It's a 3-0 ball game as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Eduardo Rodriguez pitching well here, giving up 2 hits so far is all. Struck out 4 batters. And he will face Sands, Alberto, and the pitcher Montgomery. Maybe Montgomery. We'll see. If anybody reaches, Cincinnati may have to make a move. And Sands against the lefty. He gets caught looking. He strikes out. So the first out of the bottom of the 5th comes via strikeout. That's the 5th one of the day for Rodriguez. And now Hanser Alberto is up and pressing in his first at-bat because of the spot start. He popped it up over to Correa at short. And now he gets a pitch, and this is a 1-8 chance. It could be a single hit over to the shortstop, and Correa robs him again. Well, he didn't rob him the first time, but he put him out. This time, he robs him with a jumping catch to snag that ball before it got to the outfield. And that's the 2nd out. Now, with nobody on base, they are... Let's see. Will they let Montgomery keep pitching? They have a deep bench, does Cincinnati today. They've got a couple of lefties with 2 outs, though. Well, I guess they will go to the bench. They're going to pinch hit with Andres Blanco. So Montgomery's day is done. He gave up 3 runs. Not a terrible day, but just because of the way the lineup works and because we're not using a DH, he's going to be pinch hit for. Here in the bottom of the 5th, it will be Andres Blanco doing the pinch hitting. And so Montgomery's day is over, and we'll have to go to the bullpen on the top side of the 6th. But for now, against the lefty, Blanco hits one over to Correa, and we know that's where balls go to die. And this one will as well. And he puts it out. And that will end the bottom half of the 5th. We move to the 6th. It's still a 3-0 ball game. And it will not be Mike Montgomery coming out to pitch. We are going to have to make a call to the bullpen. And I'll bring out my binder here to see who we can go get. Cincinnati. You know what? They're going to bring out Justin. No, actually, he's a lefty, isn't he? I was thinking about bringing Justin Nicolino out, but he's a lefty. So our options are Jeanmar Gomez, Seth Maness, or Tom Wilhelmsen, or Kelvin Herrera. Let's go with Seth Maness. So Maness will take over here in the top of the 6th to face Sano, Maxwell, and Francoeur. Sano led off the 4th inning with a solo shot against Montgomery. This time it's a right-hander, Seth Maness, coming in to face him. Let's get the totals on Montgomery. He goes 5 innings, gives up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits, 3 runs. All of them were earned. He struck out 6 batters. And did he walk anybody? He certainly did. He walked 1. So not a terrible start for the pitcher, Mike Montgomery, but not enough to get through 6 innings, or get past the 5th inning, I should say. And now Seth Maness takes over to face Miguel Sano. You want some numbers for Maness? Let's take a look real quick. He's pitched in 3 innings. He's got an 0-1 record. He's given up 4 hits and 3 earned runs in those 3 innings. Struck out 4 and hasn't walked anybody. So here we go. Maness against the big righty. And he greets him with a single to lead off the inning. Miguel Sano is aboard. It was a 1-17 chance. We rolled a 7. A solid single up the middle. And now there's traffic aboard. And Jeff Maxwell is the man at bat. Maxwell against the righty. He'll draw a walk. So Maness not doing what he came into. Well, what the manager wanted him to do was just shut it down and get a quick inning. But it's not happening. 2 aboard with nobody out. And Jeff Francoeur now the batter. Maness looking for that double play ball. And this could be it. It's hit to the shortstop. Ruben Tejada, can he turn it? He's a shortstop 3 range. A 3-3? No, it's going to get under his glove, and that's going to be a single. So the batter's going, runner's going station to station. Sano moves to 3rd, Maxwell to 2nd, and now Francoeur is at 1st. Base is loaded with nobody out. And now Washington has to make a decision with the pitcher up. Having given him 5 innings of shutout ball, he's faced, 18 batters. Do you pinch hit for the batter or for the pitcher here? If we look at the bench, there are some options, left-handed options. Ike Davis, Curtis Granderson, Anthony Rizzo. If he hit a big fly here, that would basically put this game out of reach. You could go to Ben Paulson, who his card has 11 homers on it. Or do we let the pitcher hit? Let me think about this for a second. Rodriguez has been pitching really well. He's only given up 2 hits. I think we got to let him bat here. So Maness hasn't shown that he can get anybody out. And so they're going to let Rodriguez just see if he can walk him in a run. This will come off his card, and he just stands there, and Maness strikes him out. Well, that's better than bouncing into a double play. It's kind of the the best result for both squads, actually. And now, Ender Inciarte. With Inciarte and Kipnis coming up. Maness. Let's look at the bullpen. Cincinnati has 2 left-handers, if you count Nicolino as a long man. Nicolino and Cho are the 2 lefties out there in the bullpen. And this seems like as good a time as any to go get one. You've got 2 good batters in Inciarte and Kipnis, both from the left-hand side. And so they're going to pinch hit here. Or excuse me, they're going to bring in a new pitcher. That's one of the reasons why I didn't pinch hit too, because if I would have pinch hit, I would have gone for a lefty, and then they could have just gone to Nicolino or Choate. With Inciarte and Kipnis both being left-handed, they would have been 3 straight lefties. So I thought I'd try and get the pitcher sneaking out and then go to the lefty, and that's kind of what we did, and it worked out. So now Nicolino will take over. Manez goes a third of an inning, gave up 2 hits, struck out 1, and he walked 1. And he's on the hook for those 2 on base. Well, 3 on base, I should say. And now Nicolino has a mess to try and get out of. Al Red Sox fan had to jump in the chat to tell me to pinch hit. I wish I would have saw that earlier. That's funny. I made him mad, I think, by not pinch hitting. He had to jump up from his bed to the computer and type pinch hit. Jerry agreed with him to pinch hit. Well, that's second guessing the manager. That's what we're doing here. That's kind of the why we play. And Ender and Ciarte, they've got the infield back trying to get the double play. This one will be a fly ball out to left field. This one could bring home a run. The left fielder is Jerry Sands. He is in 0 arm. So we have to look at Sano, who is a 1-9 runner. A 1-9 runner. So it would be a 1-11 plus 0. So it's a 1-11 chance that Sano would score here. Do we send him, or do we wait and not send him and let Kipnis try and bring in the run? They are not going to send Sano. So that's just going to be a fly ball out to Jerry Sands in left field. And so it will be up to Kipnis now. That's another decision the manager made. The third base coach, actually. Not sending Sano there on a 1-11 roll. With 2 outs, now it's up to Jason Kipnis. Will he be able to bring Sano home, lefty on lefty, or Justin Nicolino? Will he get out of it? No, he won't. He's going to walk a run home. So the decision, I guess, was a good one in hindsight. The run comes home. Sano can just walk home instead of having to try and beat a throw from Sands. And Kipnis gets an RBI the easy way by walking home. Frank Hooer moves to second, Maxwell to third, and Kipnis with an RBI. And now it will be Carlos Correa with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Do they go and get Nicolino? Go back to a right-hander. It's 4-0 now. Or do they let Nicolino pitch to Correa just to try and get out of the inning? Correa is 0 for 2 with a walk. His card is equally scary against right-handers than against lefties. Nicolino's going to get the call to pitch to Correa. And he walks Correa. So back-to-back walks, and now they have to go get Nicolino. He's pitching scared up there. Maybe it's all the pacing back and forth that he can see in the dugout from the manager, deciding whether or not to go get him. It got him nervous. But back-to-back walks with the bases loaded. And now Nicolino, they've got no choice but to go get him. So 2 pitchers have failed Cincinnati here. And that's kind of the story of their season. And they will go to... They're going to go to Wilhelmsen to try and get out of this mess. So Nicolino, he contributes an out. He did not give up a hit. He did not strike anybody, and he gave up 2 walks. So the righty, Tom Wilhelmsen, comes on. to try and get one more out here in the top of this, excuse me, the top of the 6th. It's all kind of falling apart for Cincinnati here. Washington has scored 2 runs off of a single and a walk from Sano and Maxwell. They came around to score, and the bases are still loaded, 2 outs. Encarnacion is up now to face Tom Wilhelmsen. Let me mark that on my paper here. And Encarnacion would do well here to get a hit. Will he be able to do it here? This one is going to be a hit. It's a double, a 1 to 16 chance for a double. We roll a 4, a double 2-star. And the wheels are officially off of the bus for Cincinnati. That will score Francoeur from 3rd. It'll score Kipnis from 2nd. And off with the pitch was Encarnacion, or excuse me, Correa. And he ends up at 3rd. So a 2-run double for Encarnacion. And this one is blown right out of here. It is a 6-0 ball game. Cincinnati. And they've got to be hanging their heads again, thinking, not again. They just had a big victory yesterday against Atlanta. I should say last game day. And now Sal Perez with 2 men in scoring position. And he mercifully strikes out against Wilhelmsen. And that will be the 3rd out. But not before Washington scores 3 here in the top of the 6th. And it's a 6-0 ball game. And the pitching they scored 4, excuse me. I missed a run. So they scored 4 runs, and it's a 7-0 ball game. So Francoeur came in to score, and I forgot to fill in the bubble. So it's a 7-0 ball game. Four runs scored there. I guess we can close the book on Manes. He gave up 3 runs in a third of an inning. Nicolino gave up 1. And it got ugly there. We didn't pitch hit for Rodriguez, and that was a long rest for him in the dugout. Will he be effective here in the bottom of the 6th? Billy Hamilton will lead off, and Billy Hamilton, he's going to be striking out. That's the 3rd time that Billy Hamilton has struck out against Rodriguez. If anybody wanted him to be pinch hit for more than Jerry and more than Red Sox fan, it was Billy Hamilton. He sees him again, and he strikes out again. Now Ruben Tejada. Tejada, he strikes out. So back-to-back strikeouts. The layoff not doing any damage to Rodriguez. He's getting better as the game goes along. That's the 7th strikeout on the day for him. And now David Freese. Freese bounces one over to second for Jason Kipnis. Kipnis is a 3-range second baseman. A 3-4 is going to be a single, so that one squeaks past Kipnis. And that'll be the 3rd hit given up of the ball game for Rodriguez. And it comes with 2 outs. And David Ortiz will face the lefty. That's the 3rd hit given up by Rodriguez. 2 of them have been 2-out singles. So even though he's given up a couple hits, they haven't been all that impactful. This one is bounced over to shortstop. Carlos Correa is there. Will Correa make the play and end the inning? He's a shortstop 2. A 2-3, and he just gets to that ball. Kind of slides and slips on the outfield grass where it meets the infield dirt. But with David Ortiz running, he's got more than enough time to gather himself, take a couple of steps, a couple of strides, and then even make a throw. And David Ortiz kind of trotting up the line anyway, knowing he was going to be out. And that will end the 6th. So 4 runs in the top side there. It's 7-0 as we move to the 7th. Washington with a commanding lead. And Tom Wilhelmsen will come back out. He will face Sano, who's 2 for 3 on the day with a homer and a single. Maxwell, who's 1 for 2. And Francoeur, who's 1 for 3. Does everybody in the Washington lineup have a base hit? Everybody except for Carlos Correa and the pitcher have base hits. So Miguel Sano will face Wilhelmsen here. And Wilhelmsen gets him to strike out. That's the 2nd strikeout for Wilhelmsen. And now Justin Maxwell will be the man up to bat. Maxwell singled his first time up, but struck out and then walked. And he bounces this one to third. That's David Freese over there. Freese is going to toss one gingerly and easily over to first, and that will be 2 outs. And now Jeff Francoeur, the man up to the plate. And that's a 1-12 and a 2-out walk. A 2-out walk, and this is going to clear the pitcher. And here we go. The the debate again. Will they pinch hit for Rodriguez? They're not going to. He's got a shutout going. He's been strong. 7 strikeouts, only giving up 3 hits. No reason to pinch hit for him now if we weren't going to do it before. With 2 outs, especially this time. And it's a 5-7. And look at that. He ends up drawing a walk. So back-to-back walks with 2 outs for Tom Wilhelmsen. And nothing comes easy here for Cincinnati. They just can't get out of an inning. A 2-out walk and then another 2-out walk. And there's 2 men on now for the top of the order for Enciarte. And now they are going to go get Wilhelmsen. And they're going to go get their other lefty. And that's Randy Choate. Jerry Ball says Billy Hamilton, that is, told him to vote for the pinch hitter. Yeah, probably. If he could have, he would have. Randy Choate now, looking to get an out. Wilhelmsen goes an inning. He gave up 1 hit and struck out 2 and walked 2 as well. It started off so well for you, Wilhelmsen, but then 2 2-out walks, and now they had to go get Randy Choate. So Randy Choate comes in to face Enciarte and then maybe Kipnis. But it's a lefty on lefty, and Enciarte, look at all that black ink there. He bounces one over to Tejada, who's going to make a nice easy play. And that will end the threat here and get them out of the top of the 7th. And look at that, they didn't give up a run. So we move to the bottom side and the stretch. Go ahead and sing. I'll see if I can hear you from here. Oh, it sounds beautiful. Good work. And now Eduardo Rodriguez, after they retill the dirt in the infield, they water it down. It's all nice and groomed. And Blake Swihart now will lead off the bottom side of the 7th. Swihart, Young, and Sands do up against Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez putting together a nice start, and Swihart bounces one easily over to Correa. He's the catcher. He doesn't run well. And Correa just toying with him, takes 2-3 steps, taps his glove, and fires it over to first. Now it'll be Delman Young, who's 0 for 2. And the righty, he's going to have a hit here. Is it going to make it to the gap? It will. A 1 to 15, and it's a double. We rolled a 9. And so Delman Young has his first hit of the ball game. It's a double. So Rodriguez may be fatiguing here, giving up a 1-out double. And now Jerry Sands with the bat in his hand. It's a 1-2. That's a fly ball over to right field. And Young is not going to try and advance. He doesn't have the wheels for that. Just trying to score some runs, not trying to make the third out at third. And so Young stays at second, and it'll be up to Hanser Alberto, who is popped out to short and lined out to short in his 2 turns. And this time, he will hit one over to the left-hand side, but the third baseman, Sano, will run in front of Correa, cuts the ball off, and he makes the strong throw. And that will end the 7th. So the double does not come back and hurt Rodriguez. He still has the shutout working here through 7. And now it'll be Kipnis, Correa, and Encarnacion. Randy Cho comes back out to face the lefty of Kipnis. And maybe more, depending. And he's going to get Jason Kipnis, who's had 1 hit today, a double in the first inning. But this time, he flies this one up to left field, and Jerry Sands, who's been busy out there, runs over and makes the catch. Now it's Carlos Correa and Edward and Encarnacion. And will they go get Choate? They're just going to let Choate eat some innings here. It's a 7-0 ball game. I mean, why not let him throw it? Just see what he can do. And he's going to get an out of Correa. He dribbles one over to third base, and Tejada scoops it up off a couple of bounces. And that will be the 2nd out. So Correa is still the only man without the only outfield player without a hit in the lineup. And now Encarnacion, who has 3 of them, will face the lefty, Randy Choate. And he swings hard, and he doesn't get any baseball, and he strikes out. So Randy Choate with his first strikeout, and that'll be a 1-2-3 inning. Cincinnati hasn't seen that in a while. Choate kind of has come in here and put out the fire a little bit. He's gotten 4 straight batters. And now Eduardo Rodriguez comes out for the bottom of the 8th. He will face 9-1-2. And it will not be Blanco. He already pinch hit. So we need a new pinch hitter. And the pinch hitter will be Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore has not had many opportunities to pinch hit or play, much less. He is behind Ortiz and Justin Bauer at first base pecking order. So Tyler Moore has not seen much duty. Here he will pinch hit against the lefty, trying to get something started. So Tyler Moore, a 2-6, and this one's hit sharply, but right at the shortstop. Correa is going to have a nice easy hop, and he takes and fires it over to first for the first out. So Rodriguez gets the pinch hitter, and now Billy Hamilton, they're not the guy he wants to see. And Hamilton doesn't strike out this time, but he lifts one out to left field. And As he's running down the bases, he just stares down Eduardo Rodriguez, and Enciarte out in left field makes the easy catch. He kind of told him, "You're not going to strike me out this time, no matter what." And he probably chased a pitch that was too high just to prove a point that he's not going to strike out 4 times. So Billy Hamilton is retired. That's 2 quickly gone, and now Ruben Tejada is the batter. And Tejada with a 6-7, and this one is hit over to the second base. And will Jason Kipnis be able to make a play? This one looks like it's going to be a tough chance. It may go to his E rating. A 2-3 and a 10. That's going to go to his E rating. He's an E10. And we rolled a 10. Kipnis is going to get dirty. He makes a nice sliding grab, and from his backside, able to wing it over to first for the 3rd out. So Rodriguez goes 1-2-3 again, and he's clean through 8. And I'm going to say his starting position in the rotation is going to be safe for at least another week. I don't think Garza is going to get that spot in the rotation back. And so we pinched hit for Randy Choate. And so we got to go get a new pitcher that will face Salvador Perez, Miguel Sano, and Justin Maxwell. It will be Jean-Marc Gomez coming out. And Randy Choate will get his numbers here in a second. Choate went an inning and a third. He didn't give up any hits, no runs. Struck out 1 and didn't walk anybody. So he was probably the most effective pitcher that Cincinnati has thrown out there so far today. Now, John Mar will take over to face Salvador Perez. This is a 3-10, and Perez hits one over to Freeze. And Freeze is going to have plenty of time to get the slow-running catcher, and he does so easily. And there's 1 away. Miguel Sano now. Sano is 2 for 4, has a couple of hits and a couple of strikeouts. What will break the tie this time? It's going to be a strikeout. His 3rd strikeout on the day. But hard to be mad at the man. Has a solo homer in this game. He swings hard and sometimes he hits. Jerry Ball, thanks for checking in. He's got to go. The clock is over for Jerry Ball. He's got to go catch some Z's. Hey, I appreciate you being here, Jerry. You were fun to follow along with on the chat tonight. And before you go, make sure you leave a like. All of you that are watching, leave a thumbs up. I appreciate it. You guys are great. Justin Maxwell now against the righty Jean-Marc Gomez. And he strikes out. So back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning for Gomez. And all of a sudden, Washington's bats have gone cold against the bullpen. Probably because they know that 7 runs is probably going to do it here. Not as much necessary to be put out there. So Eduardo Rodriguez comes back out for the 9th looking for the shutout, and he will have to face Freeze, Ortiz, and Swihart to do so. Feels like Swihart was just up. But Eduardo Rodriguez is, well, I should say David Freeze is 1 for 3 against Eduardo Rodriguez today. And he will face him here in the bottom of the 9th. And this one's bounced over to Sano at 3rd, who gobbles it up and spits out a fastball over to first base. And that is the first out of the inning. David Ortiz now 0 for 3 today against the lefty. Just having a rough go against him. Not seeing the ball well, and he didn't see that one. It was right down Main Street, and it was called a strike. And that is a strikeout. The first strikeout that Rodriguez has had in a while. The fourth time through the lineup, though, he gets one against Ortiz. And now there's 2 outs, 1 out away from a shutout. And it will be Blake Swihart. And Swihart lifts one up to center field. Jason Maxwell patrols out there, and he will make the easy grab. And this ball game is over. Eduardo Rodriguez with a gem. And it's a 7-0 shutout. Washington proving to be the better squad, and Cincinnati proving that last game was a fluke against Atlanta. After blanking Atlanta, they get blanked themselves, this time in more impressive fashion. 7-0. Eduardo Rodriguez, they may have found something with him. As I had mentioned early in the game, he took over for a struggling Matt Garza in the rotation and got a chance and made the most of it. Eduardo Rodriguez will get the win. He moves to 1-0. Let's tally up his numbers. He went 9 innings. He gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits is all. A 4-hit shutout. Striking out 8 batters. And did he walk anybody? Not a single batter walked. I would say that is pretty efficient for the young man, Eduardo Rodriguez. Jeanmar Gomez went an inning. Didn't give up anything except 2 strikeouts. The loss will go to Mike Montgomery. And we never gave Tom Wilhelmsen any runs, did we? He didn't give up any, that's why. The loss goes to Montgomery. Whose record now falls to... Let me see here. I had it written down. He is 0-2 now. Let's tally up. There was 1 error committed by Washington. None for Cincinnati. The hits were... Cincinnati had 4. Washington had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hits for Washington. 7 runs, 10 hits, and an error. 0 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for Washington. Or excuse me, for Cincinnati. So this has been it for this ball game tonight. Game day 15 continues. I appreciate you guys being here. You leave a thumbs up, and you follow me over here on Twitter at RNGIDP_Strat. We can chat over there. We can chat in the comments here just as easy. Send me a comment. Let me know if you like this, if this series. I've been having a lot of fun with it. In fact, we are almost halfway there. I was doing the math, and after the KL games are done for this game day, we'll be exactly halfway through the league, and that is exciting to me. There are 420 regular season games, and I really never thought about it. I just kind of put my head down and I was playing, and this is fun. And I kind of looked up, and I was like, wait, how many games have I played? It's around, I think I was at 196 coming into game day 15. With 2 now, we're at 198 games played in this series. So it's hard to believe that we're coming up on 200 games played. And I appreciate you guys helping me get over that hump. I mean, I would be playing this anyway, but I don't know that I'd be playing it as frequently, because I like being able to share it with you guys, and the interaction I get on Twitter from Steve and from Al and from all of you guys following along, and now Jerry and Al in the chat. Man, it's been a ton of fun. I know earlier on when I got started, Espo and Tenacious Strat, Earl. I mean, Earl is the best, isn't he? And I can't say enough about that guy. He's really the best at this, and I just appreciate all he does for the community and for me. I mean, the guy streams all the time, got a huge following, and it's because he's fun to watch, and he really gets into it, especially that Phillies replay. That thing has been driving him nuts, and it's funny to watch. Well, anyway, this has been fun. Make sure you follow. I'm going to post this scorecard on Twitter like I do every night, and I'll let you know if there will be a stream. I'm going to let you know right now. I know if you've made it this far, I'm blabbling on, but Friday, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, Friday, there will be no stream. I'm not going to be able to make it. I've got other plans. I'm going to be rolling dice, but not for Strat. So I just want to say thank you, and I'll try and get back here Saturday night. We'll see. I've got a birthday party to go to, but I'm going to try and make it back Saturday night. Friday is not going to happen. So until then, have a good night, and I thank you very much for being here. Take care.